Okay, let's really unpack this. The world of AI isn't just moving fast anymore. It feels like we've strapped into a spaceship and someone engaged the warp drive right when we weren't looking.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're living in a science fiction story. And that period between, what was it, June 5th and June 12th,
That specific week. Yeah.
it felt less like turning a page and more like jumping ahead several chapters simultaneously. The sheer density of, well, significant developments in that single week was remarkable.
It truly was a
Yeah.
real concentration of activity. And it presented us with this um, almost dizzying array of information.
Right.
You have these incredibly high-level, almost philosophical statements about AI's capabilities, and then right alongside that, very practical, everyday applications just quietly appearing in the tools we use every single day.
It felt like whiplash sometimes.
It was a microcosm, really, of the larger accelerated trajectory AI is on.
And that intensity, that feeling is exactly why we're doing this deep dive. We've taken a stack of sources, articles, reports, announcements, even notes that you, our listener, shared with us covering this specific packed week. Our mission today is to try and cut through the noise, extract the most important insights, and try to make sense of what this rapid progression actually means for us right now and, well, going forward.
And the sources from this period, they really highlight a fascinating tension. I'd almost call it a fundamental paradox in the current AI landscape.
Okay, like what?
Well, on one hand, you have these really bold, breathtaking claims about AI reaching or even, surpassing human-level capabilities. Big stuff.
Yeah, the headlines.
Exactly. But on the other hand, you have the much quieter reality of AI being deployed in surprisingly mundane ways. Useful, yes, but mundane.
Like new features in an app?
Precisely. And this duality is just striking when you see it all happen in the same week.
And underneath all of it, whether it's the grand claims or, like you said, the everyday apps, there seems to be this overarching theme tying these disparate developments together.
Which is?
The blurring of lines. Lines between human and machine, between the creator and the tool, between what's simulated and what we perceive as reality. That week really shone a spotlight on just how quickly these distinctions are starting to, well, fade.
That's a great way to put it. So, okay, let's begin maybe by focusing on where a significant amount of this rapid-fire news originated, OpenAI.
Makes sense. They certainly kept the AI world buzzing with activity and announcements during this window.
They really did.
Absolutely. So looking at the specific releases around June 10th, we saw them rolling out O3 Pro.
Right.
Now, for those who might not be, knee-deep in OpenAI-specific product tiers, O3 Pro is essentially an enhanced model. It's offered specifically to their premium users.
So better performance for paying customers.
Yeah, it signifies that continued focus on iterating and improving their flagship models, offering more capability to their subscribers.
Yeah.
Standard stuff, in a way.
Right. It's part of the ongoing product development cycle you'd expect from a major tech company. Constant upgrades. And alongside that, perhaps even more significant in terms of broader impact, was the API release.
Ah, yes. The API.
An API, or application programming interface, is basically a set of rules that lets different software programs talk to each other.
Like a bridge between systems.
Exactly. So releasing the API for a powerful model means developers and businesses outside of OpenAI can integrate that model's capabilities, whether it's generating text, understanding language, whatever, directly into their own applications and services.
Okay, so that's huge for spreading the tech.
It massively expands the reach and the potential applications of the underlying AI technology. It puts the power out there.
So it moves the power of their models beyond just, their own ChatGPT interface.
Right.
And puts it into the hands of potentially millions of developers worldwide, enabling them to build AI features into their products. That's a huge accelerant for wider AI adoption, surely.
Precisely. It allows for all sorts of customized niche applications of AI that OpenAI might never build themselves.
Like what? Give me an example.
Well, think of anything from customer service chatbots trained on specific company data, right? Or content generation tools tailored for particular industries, like marketing or legal.
Okay.
Or even complex data analysis workflows within big companies. The API is the pipeline for that widespread integration. It's how it gets embedded everywhere.
And let's also remember, just prior to these Juneteenth releases, they pushed out updates to their advanced voice mode.
Oh yeah, the voice interaction.
This wasn't just a minor tweak, right? These
Yeah.
updates aim to make interactions with their models feel more natural, more conversational.
Less robot.
Exactly. Potentially blurring the line of interaction style from typing a command to something closer to, well, talking to another person. It makes the AI feel more present, maybe more capable of nuanced understanding in a verbal exchange.
These are all tangible steps, aren't they? Releasing new model versions, opening up access via API, refining interaction methods. They represent the continuous expected progress of a company pushing the boundaries of AI tech.
Yeah, solid engineering updates.
However,
Right.
amidst these came a statement that was anything but typical product news.
Ah, yes. This is where things got really interesting and, in some circles, quite provocative.
Understatement.
Right. On June 12th, Sam Altman, the CEO of OpenAI, made a claim that was widely reported. Investopedia covered it, many others did too. It was a statement that just cut through all the technical updates and product announcements and grabbed immediate attention. He said, I want to quote it directly because the wording is so significant, ChatGPT is already more powerful than any human.
Wow. Just
Yeah.
that single sentence. It's packed with implication, isn't it? And it demands deep scrutiny. What does it even mean for the head of arguably the world's leading AI company to make such an assertion? It's not just a technical spec sheet comparison. It's a statement that challenges our fundamental understanding of capability, of intelligence itself.
Exactly. More powerful than any human. How are we defining power here? I mean, if we mean raw computational speed, right, the ability to perform trillions of calculations per second,
No contest there.
then yes, absolutely. No human brain comes close to the processing power of a large language model running on, a giant supercomputer cluster.
Or information recall.
Right. If we mean the ability to access and process information from a training set that includes a massive chunk of the internet, instantly recalling facts or synthesizing summaries from millions of documents,
Laughably limited human memory.
then again, a human's capacity for information retrieval is, laughably limited in comparison. But is that what we mean by powerful when we compare it to a human being? Is that the whole story?
This is where the statement becomes less about computational metrics and, well, more about philosophical or even existential questions, isn't it?
It has to be.
Does powerful include wisdom? That's not just knowing facts. It's the ability to apply knowledge judiciously, to make sound judgments based on experience, context, a deep understanding of human nature, consequences.
Things AI isn't exactly known for.
Well, wisdom often involves recognizing what not to do or understanding the subtle, unpredictable impacts of actions. Those are capabilities not typically associated with current AI models, are they?
Not really. Or what about genuine, novel creativity? The spark that leads to a truly original piece of art or a groundbreaking scientific theory or a revolutionary invention that arises from intuition, leaps of faith, not just pattern recognition.
Can an AI model, trained on existing data, truly possess that kind of creative power? Or is it ultimately derivative, a highly sophisticated rearrangement of its training data, maybe, but is it new in the same way?
That's the million-dollar question for artists right now.
Then there's the whole realm of emotional intelligence, empathy, consciousness, self-awareness.
The really human stuff.
These are fundamental aspects of the human experience, and they certainly contribute to what we might consider forms of human power. The power to connect, to persuade, to understand motivations, to navigate complex social dynamics. Are these encompassed in Altman's definition of AI power?
Doesn't seem like it.
Or is he implicitly redefining power in a way that makes AI look superior by only focusing on the metrics where it does excel, like data processing and information recall?
It feels like he's potentially moving the goalposts, Saying AI is more powerful in terms of calculation or data recall, okay, that's a measurable, verifiable statement.
Right.
But saying it's more powerful than any human broadly suggests a superiority across the whole spectrum of capabilities. And that feels like a much larger, potentially unsupportable claim, depending on how you define that spectrum.
It forces us to confront what we value in human intelligence and capability. If AI surpasses us in some aspects, where do we still hold unique power? What makes us human?
Yeah, it kicks off that whole debate.
And the context of this statement, coming from the head of a company building these systems, that's crucial. It's not just some academic musing. It's a declaration from a key architect of our AI future.
True. Is it a prediction? Is it him saying this is reality now? Is it marketing?
Hard to say for sure. But regardless, it undeniably shifts the conversation. It prompts us to think about the implications if this statement were unequivocally true across all domains.
What would that even mean?
Exactly. What does it mean for education, for work, for our sense of purpose, if the most powerful entity isn't human anymore? It's a statement designed, I think, to make us pause and reconsider fundamental definitions and potentially our place relative to these systems.
It's certainly got people talking, no doubt about that. But what makes it even more fascinating is when you contrast that monumental future-leaning claim with another piece of news from around the same time, also involving OpenAI.
The counterpoint.
Yeah. Tom's Guide, among others, reported that OpenAI is reportedly delaying the release of GPT-5.
Which many expected to be their next, even more powerful flagship model, the
Wow.
next big leap.
Right, but it's delayed.
Yes, and the stated reason for this delay, according to the report, is particularly interesting.
Which was?
They are prioritizing the release of an open weight model soon.
Okay, let's clarify what open-await means, because it's a technical term, but it's absolutely central to this strategic choice they seem to be making.
Right, good point. So in the context of AI models, weights are essentially the parameters that the model learns during its training process.
The secret sauce.
Kind of. Think of them as the billions or trillions of numerical values that encode the model's understanding of language, patterns, relationships, everything it learned from its training data.
Okay.
Making a model open weight means releasing these core parameters, often along with the code needed to run the model, to the public or the wider developer community.
So unlike a closed proprietary model like, say, GPT-4 currently, where you can only interact with it through OpenAI's interface or API,
Exactly.
an open-weight model allows anyone to download the model itself, run it on their own hardware, if they have enough computing power, which is a big if.
A very big if for the largest models.
Inspect its internal workings, and crucially, fine-tune or adapt it for specific tasks without relying on the original company's infrastructure.
Precisely. It's a move towards, well, democratizing the technology, as people say.
Okay.
It stands in really interesting contrast to pushing the absolute bleeding edge with GPT-5, which would presumably be a proprietary closed model, at least at first.
Yeah.
Instead, they're reportedly focusing on making a powerful existing model more broadly accessible and adaptable.
That feels like a strategic curveball, doesn't it? You'd expect the company whose CEO is claiming their AI is more powerful than any human to be laser-focused on releasing the next leap in that power, the most cutting-edge version.
Right. Get GPT-5 out the door.
So why pause that to release something open-weight? What's the thinking?
It's a fascinating strategic decision. And the sources suggest several potential motivations. One significant factor is likely the rapid rise of the open-source AI community.
Like Meta with Llama.
Exactly. Projects from organizations like Meta with Llama and Llama 2, Mistral, and others have shown that powerful open-weight models can be developed and iterated upon rapidly by the community, sometimes even rivaling the performance of closed models on specific tasks.
So the open stuff is getting really good.
It is. And OpenAI, which actually started with strong open-source roots before shifting towards a more closed model, might see this as an opportunity to re-engage with and influence that open ecosystem,
So get back in the game.
potentially preventing themselves from being outmaneuvered by the sheer speed and scale of community-driven innovation. It could be a competitive play, inserting themselves back into the heart of the open AI development scene.
That makes sense. Keep your influence broad.
Precisely. Another potential motivation could relate back to managing the immense power Altman is talking about.
How so?
Well, if powerful AI is going to exist, is it safer, in the long run, to have it developed, scrutinized, and deployed by a diverse community out in the open, rather than concentrated behind the walls of a single corporation?
The many eyes argument.
Right. Releasing an open-weight model allows for distributed safety research, allows countless eyes to look for potential vulnerabilities or biases, and allows for a wider range of deployments, potentially reducing single points of failure or control. It's an argument often made by proponents of OpenAI that transparency and broad access are key to ensuring safety as capabilities increase.
That's a powerful argument. It's a bit counterintuitive, though, isn't it? Giving away the ingredients of a powerful model might actually be seen as a safety measure by some.
It shifts the safety paradigm, potentially, from centralized control to distributed responsibility and scrutiny. It also accelerates the process of finding out what people will actually do with powerful AI when they have direct access to the model weights, for better or worse. And importantly, it brings us back to that definition of power. Is the ultimate power in having the single most computationally advanced model locked away? Or is it enabling millions of people and organizations worldwide to build, innovate, and adapt powerful AI for their specific needs?
Good question.
This strategic pivot towards open weights suggests OpenAI might believe that the latter represents a significant and growing form of AI power that they need to be a part of, perhaps even lead again.
It creates this really dynamic tension, doesn't it, between the race for the absolute frontier model, the GPT-5s of the world, and the impact of making existing powerful models widely available. It feels like the AI landscape is being shaped simultaneously by both centralization and decentralization.
Absolutely. And while we're contemplating the strategic implications of these moves and debating the definition of power in the context of these grand claims,
Yeah.
AI isn't just confined to boardrooms and research labs. It's quietly, relentlessly weaving itself into the very fabric of our daily lives.
Right. Often in ways that are much less dramatic than CEO sound bites, but are profoundly changing how we interact with technology and the world around us.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Let's shift gears then from the high-level corporate strategy and claims and look at some concrete examples from that same week around June 11th. Examples of AI showing up directly in consumer platforms, devices, even physical spaces.
Good idea.
Take Pinterest, for instance. They announced they're experimenting with something called auto collages.
This is a fantastic example, I think, of AI being used to automate and enhance a specific creative task, but within an e-commerce context.
So what does it do?
The tool uses AI to instantly take product catalogs. Imagine a retailer with thousands of different items and images, right?
Yeah, huge amounts of data.
And it automatically arranges them into visually appealing artistic collages or style displays. Shoppable art, basically.
So instead of needing a graphic designer or a marketer to manually select products, arrange images, add backgrounds, create a mood board, AI does that automatically, potentially in seconds.
Precisely. For advertisers and businesses on Pinterest, this drastically reduces the time, the effort, the cost involved in creating compelling visual content to showcase their products.
Makes marketing easier.
It democratizes the creation of visually rich marketing materials. And for the user browsing Pinterest, it means potentially encountering more dynamic, varied, and visually interesting shoppable content. AI here is acting as an automated creative assistant, directly impacting how products are presented and discovered online.
Taking a previously manual, time-consuming task and making it instantaneous and scalable.
Exactly. Pure efficiency gain.
That's a perfect illustration of AI as an efficiency enhancer in a specific domain. And on a similar note of everyday utility, around that same time, Google rolled out a significant AI-powered update for its Pixel phones.
Ah, yes. The Pixel updates.
This update brought a suite of new features that leverage AI right on the device.
Like an AI-enhanced photo editor, for example. This goes beyond just standard filters. It can mean AI-powered tools that make complex edits much easier.
Like what kind of edits?
Well, maybe suggesting improvements, or enabling really sophisticated object removal, or even generating entirely new elements within an image based on understanding the scene. Magic eraser on steroids? Kind of.
And custom AI stickers. That sounds fun.
Yes, allowing users to generate unique visual assets, like stickers for messaging or social media, simply by typing a text description. The AI creates the image based on the user's imagination.
Turn your ideas into little graphics.
Pretty much.
And something incredibly practical for many people, AI-powered summaries in the Recorder app.
Oh, this is a great one. Think about recording a long lecture or a business meeting or an interview.
Yeah, hours of audio.
Instead of having to listen back to the entire audio or manually take detailed notes, the AI in the Recorder app can process the audio and instantly generate a concise summary of the key points discussed.
Wow, that's a massive time saver.
It's a clear demonstration of AI providing direct utility in a common daily task.
These Pixel updates really highlight what I see as the AI as 1,000 tiny helpful ones phenomenon.
Yeah. Explain.
It's not one single overarching superintelligence deciding everything. It's AI embedded in specific features within familiar applications, making existing tasks easier or enabling small, new, creative possibilities. It's AI becoming ambient, integrated into the background of our technology use.
And this trend of ambient AI, it's fundamentally changing how users perceive and interact with AI, isn't it?
How so?
They might not even think, I am consciously using AI right now. They're simply using a better photo editor, or a fun sticker creator, or a more efficient note-taking tool.
Right, it's just a feature.
AI becomes a utility, an invisible layer of intelligence that enhances the functionality of the software and hardware they already use. This makes AI less of a futuristic concept and more of an expected capability in modern devices. It normalizes AI, making it part of the everyday technological landscape.
And this idea of AI changing how we interact with technology takes an even more significant step forward, I think, with what the browser company launched around June 11th. They're known for their innovative Arc browser.
Yes, Arc.
And they launched the beta for something called Dia.
Dia proposes a pretty fundamental shift in how we interact with the web. It's not just about adding AI features into a traditional browser interface.
So what is it then?
The concept is that the browser itself becomes a conversational AI.
Okay, wait, so instead of clicking tabs, typing URLs, organizing bookmarks, manually managing multiple windows, you would just talk to your browser.
That's the core vision presented in the sources, yeah. You could interact with Dia using natural language commands to manage your entire browsing experience.
Give me an example. What would that sound like?
Imagine saying, "Browser, find me the 3 most recent research papers on fusion energy and open them in a new window."
Okay.
Or, "Organize all my open tabs related to trip planning into a folder called Vacation."
Wow.
Or even, "Help me write an email summarizing the key points for this article I'm reading."
That's a potential paradigm shift. Seriously. We've been using graphical user interfaces, pointing, clicking, dragging, typing into specific fields to interact with computers for decades.
The WMP model, windows, icons, menus, pointer.
Right. And this is proposing a move towards a natural language interface as the primary mode of control for complex tasks like web browsing and information management.
It treats the browser less like a window to the internet and more like an intelligent assistant that navigates and processes information on your behalf based on conversation. It's exploring the idea that as AI gets better at understanding complex natural language instructions, our interaction with technology can become less structured, more intuitive, mimicking human conversation.
It's a bold vision for an AI-first interface, moving AI from being a tool within the application to being the application itself, or at least the primary way you interact with the application.
Definitely one to watch.
And AI's reach is expanding beyond the digital realm entirely, isn't it? Starting to make its way into the physical world and even influencing how we understand the past.
Yeah, we saw reports during that week about Amazon testing humanoid robots for delivery.
Humanoid robots, like walking robots.
Apparently so. This isn't science fiction speculation anymore. It's real-world testing of autonomous systems designed to navigate physical spaces and perform tasks like delivering packages.
Which has enormous implications, right? Not just for the robotics industry, but for logistics, supply chain efficiency.
And crucially, the future of human labor.
Yeah, particularly in roles involving physical tasks, transportation, and delivery. It's AI taking on physical form, becoming an embodied agent in our material world.
It's crossing that boundary.
That's it.
And looking at how institutions are reacting to the pervasive nature of AI, Ohio State University launched a campus-wide AI fluency initiative.
AI fluency, what does that mean in the context of a university curriculum? Sounds important.
According to the reports, it's a comprehensive effort to ensure that all students, regardless of their major, whether they're studying engineering, history, art, or business.
So everyone.
Everyone. They want them to gain an understanding of what AI is, how it works at a conceptual level, how to use AI tools effectively and responsibly, and critically, how to evaluate the output generated by AI.
That last part seems key.
Absolutely. It's about recognizing that AI isn't just a technical field for computer scientists anymore. It's a fundamental tool and influence that will impact every profession and every aspect of society.
So AI literacy is becoming seen as a core skill, like potentially as essential as digital literacy became over the last couple of decades.
That seems to be the message. The university is essentially saying you cannot graduate into the modern world without understanding and being able to interact with AI.
Wow. That's a big statement from major university.
It's a significant institutional acknowledgement of AI's pervasive impact. It highlights that preparing students for the future means preparing them for a world deeply integrated with AI, where understanding its capabilities and limitations is critical for success and informed citizenship. It signifies a shift from AI being a niche subject to a foundational element of a modern education.
And perhaps one of the most unexpected applications reported that week involved looking not to the future, but deep into the past. There were reports of AI being used to help decode fragments of the Dead Sea Scrolls.
That really caught my attention too. It's amazing, right?
Seriously, the Dead Sea Scrolls, how?
Think about the range we've just covered. From humanoid robots delivering packages,
Right.
to AI helping decipher ancient, fragmented texts written millennia ago. This breadth of application demonstrates a key characteristic of modern AI. its power as a universal tool for pattern recognition and data analysis.
But how would AI even help with something like decoding ancient scrolls? What does it do?
Well, the sources suggest AI models can be trained on existing deciphered texts or knowledge of ancient languages and writing styles.
Okay, feed it what we already know.
Exactly. Then they can analyze highly fragmented or damaged portions of the scrolls, looking for patterns in surviving characters, analyzing ink density, maybe even potentially inferring missing sections based on linguistic and historical context.
So it sees connections humans might miss.
Potentially.
Hmm.
AI's ability to process vast amounts of data and identify subtle patterns invisible to the human eye, or just too complex for manual analysis, makes it incredibly valuable for tasks involving incomplete or noisy historical data, like ancient fragments.
So it's applying that core AI capability, finding patterns in complex data, to a challenge that bridges archaeology, linguistics, and history. That is truly remarkable range.
Isn't it?
From automating market and collateral and summarizing meetings to potentially rewriting our understanding of ancient history.
It underscores that AI is not just a technology for Silicon Valley products. It's a powerful analytical tool applicable across virtually any domain where patterns exist in data, regardless of the time period or the format.
Wow.
Whether it's patterns in ancient scripts, patterns in consumer behavior, patterns in image pixels, or patterns in supply chain logistics, AI can be brought to bear.
So just recapping that whirlwind, in just this single week, we're seeing AI being claimed as potentially more powerful than any human,
The big claim.
simultaneously becoming an invisible utility in our phones, proposing a revolution in how we use browsers, starting to walk around as robots, becoming a fundamental requirement for university education, and helping unlock secrets from thousands of years ago.
It's quite a list.
It's not just present, it's becoming utterly pervasive.
And this kind of rapid, pervasive integration inevitably creates friction, doesn't it? As AI inserts itself into established systems, legal frameworks, cultural norms, creative processes, it bumps up against structures that just weren't designed with this kind of technology in mind.
Things start to break or get weird.
Exactly. It forces us to confront difficult questions about ownership, authenticity, and responsibility.
We saw a very clear example of this legal friction during that week with the news that Reddit is reportedly suing Anthropic.
Yes. The lawsuit.
What's the core issue there?
Based on the reports, this lawsuit centers around the alleged use of the massive trove of user-generated content from Reddit. I mean, think about all the posts, comments, discussions happening there every day.
A huge amount of text data.
For training Anthropic's large language models, like Claude, the core claim appears to be that this data was used without permission from Reddit and without providing compensation.
So the fundamental legal battleground seems to be, who owns the vast data sets that are the raw material for training these powerful AI models? And what rights do the platforms or individuals who created that data have when it's used in this way?
This lawsuit highlights a critical legal frontier. Existing intellectual property laws, like copyright, they were primarily designed for specific works, books, music, images.
Right, discrete creations.
Applying them to the process of training a large language model on billions of data points is incredibly complex. Is training on data the same as making a copy? If the AI's output isn't a direct reproduction, but a synthesis of learned patterns, how does copyright apply?
Yeah, it doesn't fit neatly.
What about terms of service agreements on platforms like Reddit? What do they permit regarding data usage? This lawsuit forces the legal system to grapple with these really novel questions about data ownership, fair use in the context of machine learning, and the economic value derived from training data.
It's a huge test case.
It's a prime example of how technology is outpacing the legal frameworks currently in place, forcing courts and lawmakers to play catch-up and potentially set new precedents for the digital age. It's not just about Reddit and Anthropic. The outcome could have significant implications for the entire AI industry and, well, any platform that generates user content.
It really throws into sharp relief the challenge of applying 20th century laws to 21st century technology. It's tough.
Very.
And the friction isn't just confined to legal documents, it's hitting the cultural sphere as well, isn't it? Particularly around creativity and the very definition of an artist.
Absolutely. One of the most talked about stories from that week involved the acclaimed music producer Timbaland reportedly finding an AI-generated artist.
Signing an AI. Not just using AI tools, but signing the AI as the artist.
That's what the reports suggested. This is a significant cultural moment because it moves beyond AI simply being a tool used by human artists, like a synthesizer or a mastering plugin.
Okay.
This is AI being presented, marketed, and given a commercial platform as the artist itself, capable of generating music that is deemed commercially viable and artistically noteworthy enough to be signed by a major figure in the music industry.
This is where the blurring lines get really interesting, maybe even uncomfortable for some people.
Yeah.
Can an algorithm truly be an artist?
That's the question, isn't it?
What does artist even mean? Does it require consciousness, life experience, emotional intent, a unique human perspective forged through struggle and joy?
Or, if the music sounds good, if it connects with an audience, does it matter if the creator is code rather than a person with a heartbeat?
Oof, that's a tough one.
These are incredibly challenging questions that strike at the heart of what we value in creative expression. Does the soul of the music, the perceived authenticity tied to human experience, matter more than the technical proficiency or novelty of the output?
What do you think?
Well, if an AI can generate music that is indistinguishable from or even surpasses human-created music in certain metrics, what does that mean for human musicians, songwriters, performers? It raises huge questions about intellectual property for AI-generated works. Who owns the copyright on something created by code?
Yeah, who gets paid?
What are the economic implications for an industry already grappling with streaming royalties and market shifts? It's complex.
It really pushes the boundary of that blurring line between the tool and the creator, doesn't it? The tool is no longer just aiding the human. It's stepping forward and presenting itself as the creative entity. It forces us to reconsider what we define as art, what we define as authorship, and what makes human creativity unique and valuable in an age where machines can also generate creative output. It's a direct challenge to establish cultural hierarchies and definitions.
And looking across all these examples we've talked about, from Sam Altman's claim of surpassing human power,
Right.
to the quiet integration into photo editors and summarizers, the potential reinvention of the browser interface, the arrival of physical robots, the legal battles over data ownership, and this cultural challenge of the AI artist.
Yeah, putting it all together.
You see how the central theme of blurring lines is not just theoretical. It's playing out in very real, tangible ways right now, across technology, law, culture, education, and just daily life.
It feels like these distinctions that we used to take for granted, human versus machine, tool versus creator, digital versus physical, present versus past, are all becoming increasingly fluid. And that single week in June really underscored the speed at which this is happening.
It really did.
Yeah.
And this brings us to the bigger picture, right? The overall significance of this concentrated burst of activity. It's easy to get caught up in the individual headlines.
For sure.
But when you look at the constellation of events from just June 5th to 12th, it forms a compelling picture of AI's current trajectory, where things are heading.
And that paradox we touched on earlier, the simultaneous presence of the profound, almost sci-fi-like claims and the surprisingly practical, even mundane applications that feels like a defining characteristic of this specific moment in the evolution of AI.
It absolutely is. It tells us that AI isn't arriving as one single revolutionary event, like the flick of a switch.
No Skynet goes live moment.
Hopefully not. It's a continuous process of development and deployment, a spectrum of capabilities being rolled out incrementally. Some increments feel like small product updates, like the photo editor.
Yeah.
Others feel like significant strategic shifts, like the open weight model decision. And others feel like cultural provocations, like the AI artist signing.
Different scales of impact.
But taken together, they paint a picture of accelerating change across multiple dimensions simultaneously. It's happening everywhere, all at once, it feels like.
This is why we believe this isn't just niche tech news, right? Or something only relevant to researchers or coders. This collection of developments from just 1 week demonstrates that AI is, well, it's the main story unfolding right now, impacting everyone.
Precisely. It's changing the tools you use every day. It's reshaping industries and the future of work. It's influencing how we educate the next generation. It's forcing our legal systems to adapt. And it's challenging fundamental concepts about creativity, ownership, and what constitutes art.
It's everywhere.
It's happening in real time, and the speed requires broad attention and understanding. It's a conversation, really, about what we value as a society, how we want to build our future, what forms of creation we recognize, and ultimately, what we're becoming as we integrate these increasingly powerful and versatile capabilities into our world.
Heavy stuff. And remember, this deep dive was directly inspired by the sources you shared with us, the material you wanted to understand better.
That's right.
So, based on everything we've discussed today, we want to turn these questions raised by the sources back to you directly. What stands out to you the most from this whirlwind week of AI developments?
Yeah, what caught your eye? Do you find yourself agreeing with Sam Altman's very bold statement that ChatGPT is already more powerful than any human? Or do you feel the definition of power needs significant qualification?
Are you excited, curious, or maybe a little unnerved by the prospect of AI not just assisting human artists, but being positioned as the artist itself, potentially creating commercially successful music? Does that feel right to you?
These aren't simple questions, are they? And there aren't necessarily right or wrong answers,
Mm.
but they're the questions that the events captured in these sources from that single week have undeniably thrust upon us. We have to grapple with them.
This conversation about AI's accelerating development and its impact is an ongoing one. It has to be. And it's one that every one of us needs to be engaged in, I think.
Agree.
Understanding the speed of these changes, the tension between the monumental and the mundane, and the pervasive blurring of lines is absolutely essential to navigating the world AI is rapidly helping to build around us.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, maybe consider this final thought. If the lines between human and machine, tool and creator, reality and simulation are blurring so rapidly in our technology, our culture, and our legal systems,
Yeah.
how might that accelerating blurring ultimately impact our own fundamental sense of identity, and maybe even the nature of reality itself in the years to come?
Wow. Okay. Something big to think about there.
Indeed, food for thought.
Thank you for joining us for this deep dive into the blurring lines of AI.
Until next time.